From a happy, carefree joyride to basically its complete and utterly destructive antithesis, Wind River is a bleak, scathing, deliberate crime thriller written and directed by Taylor Sheridan, the man responsible for previously writing Sicario and Hell or High Water, which are also bleak, scathing, deliberate crime thrillers. However, despite the man not only having settled down in his comfort zone, but basically having erected a bed and breakfast and started charging rent there, the similarities pretty much end there. Wind River is the story of a Fish and Wildlife Service's animal tracker who discovers the murdered body of a young Native American girl in the remote part of the Wind River Indian Reservation in Wyoming. He teams up with local tribal police and a rookie FBI agent to track down the culprits and possibly enact a terrible vengeance of his own, and it's absolutely fantastic. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the collected works of Taylor Sheridan, this means it's a gritty crime procedural where the actual act of solving or committing the crime takes a backseat to contextual speculation and character-focused responsive analysis. If you're going into this movie expecting a David Fincher-esque mystery with layers of abstraction, multiple threads converging, and cerulean tints over every shot, you will be disappointed, because even at their most intricate, the plots themselves are never beyond a generalized one-sentence summary. Instead, the focus is on the characters and their responses to the challenges they face in overcoming obstacles to what at first seems like a relatively clean-cut, straightforward operation. In Sicario, it was ulterior motives. In Hell or High Water, it was the dogged persistence of a man in pursuit of moral righteousness. And in Wind River, it's personally ingrained distrust between native and colonizing peoples as a direct representation of the social and cultural injustices delivered to the Native American population. Some movies strive for relevance, others have relevance thrust upon them. You could be forgiven for thinking an argument of this sort is unnecessary, but again, I cite a frankly shameful amount of relevance, but the movie helps justify its case by having actual characters rather than a conglomerate of straw men. This aspect is probably the strongest in Wind River, perhaps not as strong as Hell or High Water in that regard, but still fantastically done. Not only were the characters' actions and dialogues very realistic, but the script managed to take what were normally rather typical and played out scenarios like comforting someone over the death of a family member and adding new dimensions to it that not only better fit the setting and tone, but also remained relevant to the movie's themes without being forced or preachy. The story is again a rather straightforward procedural, but it has enough moving parts that it still feels fresh and never boring. The fantastic performances from the whole cast, including unique and dramatic turns from Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen, managed to endow the comparatively simplistic events with a significance all their own, before the final shot of the film can beautifully summarize the whole affair with the kind of brutal honesty that's pretty much exclusive to movies with such intent and passion being put into them. And the best part is, even if you strip out the arguments and neutralize the film's point of view, you're still left with a taut, harrowing, well-crafted crime thriller punctuated with action scenes that feel earned and resonant given the stakes, gorgeous cinematography emphasizing the unforgiving scope and scale of the setting, and excellent direction and editing that leaves an hour and 45-minute long movie feeling like it lasts no time at all. If I were to have any issues with the movie, I would argue that the characters of the ex-wife and the son were almost non-existent, and considering that they only play a part in the first maybe 15 minutes of the movie, it seems like they only existed to have you sympathize with Jeremy Renner's character, which doesn't really make any sense because there are plenty of other perfectly good reasons to sympathize with him. All things considered, the best parts of the movie all took place after these scenes, but for a movie with a lot of fantastic parts, this is hardly an issue. Well, it looks like this video is going to be really short, which if I somehow didn't make my point over the past 600 units of oral sex I've been giving this movie, should indicate to you that it's really fucking good and that you should go see it, like now. It's grueling, but like many things in life, the reward is certainly worth selling a small portion of your soul to a bleak and depressing reality that you had no part in creating and have no hope of changing. Thanks, and have fun.